Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Should work? Okay.
Okay, welcome to our guests, more guests. We're bringing more Christians in.
Oh, and a fan.
And a fan.
You're such a fan. There you go.
Can you, Krishna one?
We're a big fan of
You want to type in this?
Here, yeah. It's Radha Madhava, all lowercase.
Okay. Radha Madhava?
Yeah.
Well, I should know how to spell it by now, right? I'd be a real illusion if I didn't know how to spell it, right?
So do you want the camera facing you or the screen or try both? Or?
I'm not sure.
We should try for both. That's a nice new tripod. Yeah.
Now, how do we make it just so the it's showing one by one?
Yeah. So it should be a thing that says like slideshow. Yeah, right here.
Okay. All right, I'll keep that in mind for future
And then you
reference.
should be able to
Pretty easy, right? That slideshow.
you can use your arrow pieces.
Okay. Are you visiting from out of town?
My daughter is here. It's for school, so we're.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to the university here?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
We're from California.
Oh, really? Where in California?
Irvine.
Oh, okay. I live in San Diego.
Okay, yeah, we're from Irvine, South County.
Okay, nice. Okay, so you're the brother? Okay, nice. All right. So, this is a presentation for all of you. And the title of the presentation is Lost in Place, Growing Up Absurd in Suburbia. So this is an, Hare Krishna. So this is an autobiography, how do you say it? Okay, yeah, that word. And we were driving for many hours from San Diego, so my mind's still cooling down, my brain, you know. So this is a story. And the person wrote a book based on this story, and it's a story of this person's life. So, very important thing to note, this is not the story of my life, okay? It's somebody else's life. And this is the title of the book. This is the title of the book that that was written about himself. Hare Krishna, you're the father. Sorry, I didn't mean to exclude you. Hare Krishna. So, and this will become clear what this means, growing up absurd in suburbia. Like, what does that mean exactly? So that'll become clear. All right, so go to the next. So these guys are brothers? Just joking. But sometimes people, they wonder, is there a difference between animals and humans? I mean, there's similarities, that's clear. And some people, they think that there's just no difference. Humans are a little more polished or whatever, but they don't think there's much of a difference. But at least from the Vedic perspective, from the Bhagavatam and so on, other spiritual books, it is understood that there's a vast difference between animals and humans. And it's important to understand that difference. And yeah, you could say live differently. So what's the difference? This must be in India somewhere, right? I mean, maybe it's somewhere else. I don't know. Where else are there wild monkeys? Anyone know? I'm not sure. Maybe Nepal, Africa.
That's an Indian monkey, though.
Yeah, this must be India. So
That's an Indian.
recently, and I was in Miami. Anyone ever went to Miami? Yeah, you're from Miami. Okay. Anyone else went from Miami or went to Miami?
I have 4 friends.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Everyone else didn't go? Okay. So yeah, I went to Miami recently, and I mean, interesting. It's a interesting fact, I thought, but there's like wild iguanas. So you're down walking by the bay. There's like this huge iguana there, a nice green. There's also wild peacocks. It's interesting. I was walking down the street, and then I saw this poster, and it said, "If you found Lucky, then we'll pay you $300." And usually it's a cat or a dog or something like that, but this is a peacock, just kind of wild running. So yeah, different countries have different wild animals going around, and so the difference that we would say is that we're curious. At least that's what we could say or confirm. We're curious in terms of our heritage. Where did we come from? Did we just is there some type of origin that we come from? Where did we come from as humans? There's different theories about that, right? Theories based on God, theories based on non-God, so different theories. Or vocation, what am I doing here? Has anyone ever wondered that? What am I doing here? Or destiny, where am I going? Where's this all heading towards? So we have these different questions. And it's important to try to find good answers for these questions. And that's really every person's journey in a sense. Unless they're really asleep, that's another thing. But if they're a little inquisitive, it's their journey. They want to know. Where did I come from? What am I doing here? Where am I going? They want to know these things. So people search in different ways. I'm sure many of us here have done that, right? I think quite a few people, practically everybody here, has gone on some searching for truth. But when we talk about searching for truth, it's very interesting because many times we tend to become like the people we closely associate with. For example, like our parents. Now that might not necessarily be bad or unbeneficial, but many times it is for different reasons. For example, you have a very unhappy parents in different ways. So want to become like them, that we don't want that. Like here, there's a quote. A person is never themselves, but always wears a mask. A person never owns their own person, but always represents another by whom they are possessed. And the one that is always ancestors. In other words, we just pick up what our parents and our grandparents, and we just pick it up. It's like in our blood. And they train us from a very young age to be like them, even though they may not have any good answers to who I am, where am I going, and so on. They may be very confused, but we just become like them. So, meet Joe. This is part of the story. Meet Joe. So who's Joe? Joe, he's an artist. He's a astronomer. He's a social worker. And he's a good-natured pessimist. The guy's negative. He's really negative. Everything's a problem. Everything's a complaint. He's really, really unhappy person. No offense to artists or astronomers or social workers, but they could be happy. But this guy wasn't a happy one.
We have a pessimistic Joe who's a
Oh, really?
carpenter. Our carpenter.
Oh, he's here.
Good-natured Joe.
He's good natured.
Good natured, pessimistic, yeah. So he's the father of the story. He's the father in the story. Not my father. This is not my story, but he's a father in the story. Okay? And then this is his mother, opposite. So much to read, so much to learn, so many instruments to play, so many rooms to clean. She's just very energetic, positive. She had so much love for her son. Martha had so much love for her son. But they were different. The father was negative, the mother was positive. So that affects the child. How the parents are heavily affects the child. So the young boy is very affected in the story. So the young boy, Mark, he wanted to search. So he learned some, anybody practice this here? You have any black belts in the Omar?
Not black belts.
Oh yeah? You're working your way up? Okay, good. So when we go out chanting on the streets, we'll bring you, just in case, somebody messes with us. And we'll bring Omar, or no, your name's not Omar anymore. Nitai, yeah. So he was searching for himself. So he said, let me get into this, let's see. Maybe that's the goal of my life. Maybe that will be fully satisfying. Because when people are looking for satisfaction, they want to be fully satisfied. Just like recently, one of my friends shared this video with me. It's of this very famous golfer, the game, okay, golf. So extremely famous, extremely successful. Actually, he won some world championship. You know who I'm talking about? No? Okay, anyways, it's okay. I'm not telling you this. It's a more recent guy. Anyways, he won this very big tournament. But then he was in the interview, he was getting interviewed, and then he just said, yeah, okay, I won it, and people were taking pictures and some videos and stuff, but that was it, and I'm not really that more satisfied. It's very temporary, fleeting thing. And he's kind of saying actually, I wouldn't encourage people to do this. That's what he was saying. Pretty interesting. And he was saying that actually he takes more pleasure, more satisfaction is brought to his heart by associating with his loved ones, his wife and his kids. That's what really brought him pleasure. That's what he was saying. So anyway, so this Mark, he was looking for something. So he got into this. So that didn't really work. Him getting into. So he thought, let me be a musician. Anyone tried to be a musician ever? It's pretty difficult, actually. At least for me. Maybe I'm not so musically inclined really, but it takes a lot of work. Practice. So it didn't really go so far. I remember I got a guitar when I was a teenager. I didn't go far. So Mark didn't go so far.
This story isn't about you.
No, it's not about me. So then he's kind of making his way up in a sense, So then, I mean, everybody knows what this is, right? I'm sure everybody knows. Yeah. So the guy started thinking, okay, let me, he kind of called it the state of, he didn't want to be, the whole thing here we have to remember also, he was trying to avoid the identity of his father. That was the whole premise of his search. Because I don't want to be like my father, like anybody but him, like with all due respect. But so he's just searching. So he thought, so he called it, he didn't want to be in the state of Joe. That was his father's name. So he thought, okay, let me be in the state of, euphoria or whoa, whatever. Let me get stoned, So he started smoking. And his younger brother, because he started growing in the backyard. This was back in the 90s, by the way, when it was illegal. And some people would argue fun, because it was illegal. Now it's not. Now it's legal, right? But anyway, so his father in the backyard, or excuse me, his brother in the backyard saw, this growing. He was growing his own, and then he told his father, kind of innocently over dinner one time, and he was looking through a book, and apparently in the book, they're like a marijuana plant, and then the young boy said, "Oh, that looks like what Mark is growing in our backyard." And then the father's like really chided him and got him off that. He was an easy case apparently, because a lot of people, So he kind of broke away from that. So he continued his search. There he is. So then he went to Yale. That center of learning, and he really got into things. He was studying. He was reading so many books, taking so many classes, searching for happiness. And then he met one professor, Tung Li Shen, and he asked him a question. You say you don't understand the meaning of life, yet you're obviously happy. So he's telling the professor this. You say you don't understand the meaning of life, yet you're obviously happy. What am I missing? He's a young man. What am I missing? What am I missing? And then the professor laughs and he says, about 50 years of age, I think. So what does that mean practically?
You got to suffer before you can be happy.
Yeah, that means the guy's 20 years old. He's 21 years old. And then this professor is saying, I'm happy, but hey, I got 50 years on you. So in other words, before there's even a question of deep happiness and satisfaction, you got to wait another 5 decades. You know how terrible of an answer that is? That's terrible. I mean, who wants to wait 5 decades for anything? What to speak of happiness, the most sought after thing that people want. So he failed in all these different things, coming up to the point of school. Then he just gave it up, and he was thinking, okay, what's the point? And then he went back to his father's home. And then his father was in the garage. And again, pessimist, artist, astronomer, very negative person. So he walks in and his father's just painting, miserably. And then he comes in and he starts speaking to his father and he says, I tried to become a karate, is it, right? Yeah, I tried to get into karate. I tried to be happy through becoming a musician, through the drug world, through going to Yale. I explored so many philosophies, and I just couldn't find anything. I'm just suffering, and what am I? You know, I'm feeling hopeless. So he's telling his father that. And then his father, he puts the house keys like this, and he says, "Welcome home, son." And he gives him the house keys. Welcome home, my son. So now, what does this mean? Welcome home. It means like this is relating back to the title of the book, Lost in Place, growing up absurd in suburbia. So lost in place, what does that mean? It means that people in general, they are all sharing a same place. For example, a house, an apartment, whatever. They're sharing it, okay? But they're lost. They're all lost in place. In the house, they're lost. So they're sharing the same place, but they're lost. And growing up absurd in suburbia means there's no real rhyme, there's no reason, there's no purpose behind anything. It's just all absurd. And you're just in suburbia, lost, you know. So therefore he's saying, welcome home, son. And he felt that his father's mask that he was trying to avoid all of this time was just hardening on his face, you know, just he put on his father's mask, the person he did not ever want to become. So, so many practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, they also go on a search. They're looking for purpose. They're looking for a rhyme, a reason. They want happiness. And they may search for happiness in so many different ways. And in my particular case, I was also searching. I heard Kirtaneshwar, I think he said, "Oh, is this story about me?" So I was also searching. When I was a teenager, when I was 16, I started. Stopped hanging out with all my friends and reading books, getting all types of stuff, getting into stuff like that, meditating, going to different churches and centers and so on. And while I was on my search, I came across a devotee by the name of Radhanath Das, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, which he's a very amazing devotee. He had this disease in which he had to have his legs amputated from the knees down. He was in a wheelchair, but still, despite that, he would go out and distribute spiritual books like 5 days a week. So while I was walking out of the grocery store with my mother, he was there, and he passed me a book, Perfection of Yoga, 16-year-old boy. And then I read that book, and I was very impressed. And personally, just as what's his name? Mark. Just as Mark was searching, I was also searching, but I felt that I found answers. And many devotees feel that also, that they actually found answers, that it's not absurd, that you don't have to feel lost in place, that there is meaning. And this is all really the kindness and, you could say the kindness and compassion of one great teacher. Bala Gopinath painted him here. He's behind us. Srila Prabhupada. He was nearing 70, and he got an instruction from his teacher that you go to the West. Not to make money, not to do this, not to do that, but you go to the West to spread Krishna consciousness. And he was living in a very peaceful place, Vrindavan. Who's been to Vrindavan here? Okay. So Vrindavan, like 60 years ago, was a whole nother world. Extremely, simple village. But it's the village of Krishna, where Krishna, it's all Krishna, about Krishna consciousness there. So he was living there very peacefully. You could say it's the spiritual world. Full bliss, full knowledge. But he was thinking, okay, let me leave. And he left on the Jaladuta, it's a boat. Actually, we're nearing the 60th anniversary of his coming to America. First going to Boston. I was just in Boston, actually. I'm like a pinball right now. You know pinball? I was in San Diego to Miami, Miami to Boston, Boston to San Diego, San Diego to Tucson, Tucson to El Paso, El Paso to Albuquerque, Albuquerque to San Diego, San Diego to LA. So it's like a pinball, actually. But I was there in Boston. Some friends invited me after Miami, and I went to the place where Srila Prabhupada arrived on the boat, Commonwealth Pier. He wrote these beautiful prayers to Krishna. Revealing his heart and his mission in spreading Krishna consciousness in America. So, it is due to his kindness, his compassion, coming to eventually New York City, that lovely place. And then going on to San Francisco, he's here with, everybody knows who he's with, right? Jagannath and the hippies of San Francisco. They're real hippies. So this was Srila Prabhupada's compassion and his kindness. Many of his colleagues wouldn't even dream of coming to America. They thought, oh, these people are just, and what to speak of the hippies of San Francisco. His colleagues would, no way. But he came out of his compassion, and he had his cartels, his symbols there, and he chanted Hare Krishna. Started a worldwide movement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So he started the revolution by the chanting of Hare Krishna. So that revolution's still going on. And mostly it's an internal revolution, like of consciousness. It's not an external thing. And mostly it's through the chanting of, we have two forms of chanting, like we were just chanting earlier, and we also chant on our beads. Everybody practically knows about that. So we chant 64 rounds a day. Just joking. 16 rounds a day. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 on each bead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So you do that 108 times, 16 times. So 16 rounds at least. You can do more. And this is a very powerful process to elevate our consciousness. Also, through kirtan, like we were doing earlier. Also through reading. Reading's very important. There's so many books here. Reading's an interesting thing. Many people feel they don't have time for it. Has anyone ever felt like that before? Don't have time to read. It's a busy world. They keep us busy, but the idea is to try to make time, because we make time for things that are important. Like, for example, recently in my mind, I was also thinking, geez, I'm so busy and I like to read more. So what came into my mind was 3 words. No Tech Tuesday. I looked it up, and apparently it's a thing in schools. I looked up No Tech Thursday, and it's not a thing, but No Tech Tuesday is a thing. So I started following that, No Tech Tuesday. So that means like no WhatsApp, no email, no this, no that, none of these things. I could call somebody on the phone, but limit that. So that's 4 days a month. And then times 12, that adds up. So many days. And then I've added 2 other days to the month, so it's 6 days in a month. So that's Ekadashis, no tech Ekadashi. Ekadashi is a fasting day where we fast from beans and grains. So that's 6 days in a month. So it adds up. And specifically on those days, I try to chant more, and specifically I try to read more, get into the momentum of reading, because there needs to be some like momentum to go. Now, if somebody feels, okay, hey, Balarama, you're a brahmachari, you're a monk, you could do that type of stuff. We can't do it. Maybe we could do like Low Tech Tuesday or Low Tech Ekadashi. Because there's so much actually nectar within the Bhagavatam, within the Bhagavad Gita, within Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these wonderful spiritual books. There's so much nectar actually there. And if we're not feeling attracted to Bhagavad Gita, fine. Read Bhagavatam. If you're not feeling attracted to Bhagavatam, read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Read where the taste is. It's okay. So it's important to try to somehow or other read. Okay, so that's the presentation. So yeah, in conclusion, Joe or Mark, unfortunately, he never found answers to his questions, and he felt life was absurd and so on. But like myself and many others, we feel that we have found purpose and meaning to our lives and happiness. And it's all very accessible and very easy by the chanting of Krishna's names through kirtan, on our beads, and also through reading. And that's the real revolution that will give us what we need, actually, fulfill our spiritual needs. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I just have an announcement first.
Okay.
I do have a question, but I'll have to ask you later. So there's a lot more people than we expected this evening, so we're making more plates. So if for any reason you run out of questions, Balarama, we can just leave it here time. Is that okay?
Okay, sure. Yes.
So what happened with Mark? How did the story end?
What happened with Mark? Mark's conclusion that he saw the Harinam party out there, and he just joined the Harinam party, the chanting on the streets, and became a Hare Krishna. Unfortunately. No, his autobiography pretty much ended in that way, that life was absurd, there's no purpose, there's no rhyme, there's no reason. Yeah, he became his father.
It's a terrible book.
So yeah, I mean, devotees sometimes think, okay, well, I'll write a book too, and the book will be Lost but Found. Growing up from absurdia, something like that, So growing out of that. But yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, obviously we could have some critiques over the book. That's for sure. Yes. Yes, I did. Can you pass me one of those, please? We're asking my brahmachari brother here, so he doesn't mind. So what this is a spiritual journal. And you say, well, there's material journals, spiritual journals. This is a spiritual journal. This is most people know Srila Prabhupada, our teacher, grand teacher. On the back, there's a nice quote. This is a quote from his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. It's also his signature there. But the quote that it's a very nice quote, says, "Life without love is useless and poor, they say. Appoint me in thy service, O Lord, with love as my pay." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this is a picture of Srila Prabhupada, and then his signatures here. And then so it's a journal, and just empty pages, and at the bottom of each page, there's quotes from Bhagavad Gita, there's quotes from the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's quotes from Srila Prabhupada on different things. There's quotes from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, for example, there's also you could write your page number and the topic theme. In other words, if you want to look up, because it's numbered pages. But here's a quote. Let's see here. We are put to test and trial in this world. Only those who attend the kirtan of the devotees can succeed. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So anyways, there's a bunch of quotes like that. So yeah, it's a journal. So that's what it is. So there's some here if anybody wants. Yes.
I think in the beginning of your presentation, like Mark had I don't know if it was 3 or 4 questions, like who am I, what is my purpose, where am I from?
Yeah.
I forget if there's any other. What would where am I going? What would your answers to those be?
My answers to those? Let's see what they were exactly. Where did I come from? So our understanding is that, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, we are the soul. We're not the body. We're not the physical body. We're not the mind. We're not the intelligence also. But we're the soul, that which animates the body, the undying soul, eternal soul, blissful soul. And specifically, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that we are all eternally parts and parcels of Krishna. So we're all intimately connected, like a spiritual family, souls to souls connected to the Supreme Soul. And we're always individual. So our happiness lies in reconnecting with Krishna, the Supreme Soul, through love and devotion. So you could say our origin is Krishna. We're coming from Krishna. We're part of Krishna. So it's not that we come into being and then we go out of being and then we're just gone. We're just extinct or something, just snuffed out or something. But we continue to exist. What am I doing here? The idea is that this material world is a place for people to act out their desires separate from God, if somebody, if people want to do that. And then over prolonged periods of things not working out, they, through good fortune, develop some interest in God realization and self-realization. So simultaneously, this place is a place to carry out the desires of the living entities, but it is also a place where one can transform and redirect one's energies back to Krishna, or back to God realization, self-realization. So yeah, and then where am I going? The principle of reincarnation's there, so we're all souls. and the souls never die, so that means they continue into different bodies. So one may take this physical body, that physical body, so many different bodies based on their desires. So whatever desires that people cultivate, then that the time of death and so on, that transfers into another body. So the idea is that the basic idea is to cut or to stop the samsara chakra, the wheel of samsara, the wheel of birth and death, just to stop it. There's one comedian, maybe some of you know. He's an older comedian. I mean, I'm not into comedians, with just speaking honestly. I would tell you if I was, but I'm not. But he's a really old comedian, and he meets with one person, one girl, and she's kind of revealing her problems. And then he says, all right, I'll just tell you 2 words. Just note this down very carefully. She's like, okay, should I write it down? He's like, yeah, most people probably don't need to, but. And he just tells her, stop it. That's like a solution, Anyway, joke. It kind of continues like that for a few minutes. It's a funny video somebody shared with me. But say we need to just stop it, just. And the idea is that what happens? You regain your spiritual identity in relation to Krishna, which is a blissful, loving relationship with Krishna. So that's the idea in terms of where you're going. Yes.
Thank you also for your wonderful classroom. It's always so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
How long are you staying? That's a side question.
I'm staying here tonight, and then I'm leaving tomorrow around, like, after lunch, around 3 or something like that. We're going to El Paso. So it's just a short stop, but the last time I came here a couple of months ago was a short stop too, but I think maybe later in the year I could stop longer, but.
It's a side one question, but I guess it's more of a we're so fortunate to have Krishna consciousness, and I always kind of mention my kids, but I see a lot of it through raising my kids through this. Like, we don't deep dive into the philosophy, but we read a lot of Leelas, and just like how they don't exactly have kind of a lot of these kind of questions where it's like, why are we here? What are we doing? It's just very kind of Krishna conscious. Like, once my younger son said, Mommy, I don't want to stay on Earth. And I was like, why? And he said, because then I'll be sad. I was like, okay. Or like, he was obsessed with Gajendra Leela for a while, and then I said, why do you like it so much? He's like, Mommy, one day I want to be an elephant that gets attacked by a crocodile, and then Krishna has to come save me. And I was like, why? He's like, because I want to see Krishna. And just kind of little things like that even if, like, for whatever reason in the future, if they don't continue, or if they continue in a different way, they already have that kind of solid ground of, like, I understand a little more than most people, and I have kind of actual answers to some of my questions.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one of the values of a parent, properly educating their children from a young age, so they have the general knowledge, that a lot of people don't have, unfortunately. That will help them a lot in their future. So that's a great responsibility of parents to raise their children in Krishna consciousness. But yeah, it's amazing actually sometimes what the children say and their thoughts and their realizations. It's actually really amazing how advanced they are.
He used to collect, like, I guess when they were in school, rocks. Say, Mommy, these are for Krishna. And just be like, oh, we don't need to put rocks on the altar. And be like, they're for Krishna. Like, okay, fine. And then they decorated the altar with the rocks. And then it was, Mom, I drew a picture for Krishna. I was like, okay, we can put it, like at the bottom. And they're like, no, this is like a background, like behind Krishna. Okay. And it's like, Krishna needs stars now. It's like, okay, whoa.
Yeah, I remember Srila Prabhupada when he, one young child drew him a picture of Krishna. But it was like a stick figure. But Srila Prabhupada, he took that picture on a plane because he was traveling all over the world, talking about Krishna consciousness. So he took that picture with him on the plane, and then he put it right in front of him when he was, because you have the seat right behind you. So he stuck the picture right there, the stick figure Krishna. And then he was chanting before it. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So, yeah. Yes.
So if you met Mark, what would you say to him?
If I met Mark, I'd try to have a conversation with him and, try to explain things and from the Krishna conscious perspective, and I'd probably give him some spiritual books. But sometimes these people, they meet people and or they meet other spiritual practitioners and so on, and unfortunately they're not so receptive. But I would try. Yeah. Yes.
This is a little bit of a personal question, but Radhanath Dasa gave you that book. He departed this world many years ago, right?
Yes.
Over 15 years ago. Did you get a chance to meet him?
Yes.
Because he was in the San Diego area, as I
Yes.
recall, right?
Yes. Yeah. I haven't forgotten about the ISKCON news, and we'll send you some stuff.
Oh, yeah, no worries. That's a reporter question.
No, I know. I'm just saying, I just wanted to tell you that. I haven't forgot. But yeah, that was, I joined the temple when I was 18. I'm 30, be 37 soon. So yeah, that was a while ago. He passed away. I think it was shortly after I joined the temple. But I did meet him. And I did thank him for the book. And I did read with him a few times, Chaitanya Charitamrita. But one thing about that, I'll tell you, because from hearing other people's stories or parts of other people's stories, we can save ourselves a lot of trouble. We can save ourselves a lot of trouble. So, for example, I had an opportunity. Everybody's being too humble, huh?
How do we get our journey?
You want some Prasad?
No, I'm okay.
Do you want some?
No, I'm okay. So about Radhanath, I had an opportunity to read with him many times, but I was a young, man, and I thought I was so busy and this and that. I actually didn't take up as much as I could his association. He was living right across the street. And then shortly after, he passed away. So it's a good lesson that people should take advantage of association. They shouldn't think, oh yeah, maybe later or maybe not, or just don't think about it. They should take advantage of association of great saintly persons. That means their guru, their spiritual teacher. That means other Vaishnavas, other devotees. They should try to associate with as much as possible because you don't know. And I missed that opportunity. With Ayendra Prabhu also, many of you may know him. Ayendra, the 24-hour kirtan leader. I was in Vrindavan in 2008, maybe it was 9. Anyways, I think it was 8, but no, 2009 or maybe 10. Anyways, I was there, and they told me, the devotee said, "Would you want to meet Ayendra, a Vrindavan, the Mridanga player?" And I said, "Yes, I'd like to meet him." Sure. So then Vrindavan, he didn't bring it up again, and I didn't bring it up again. And then I didn't meet him. And then I went back to America, and we were doing Harinam out on the streets. We're chanting out on the streets. And then somebody told me shortly after that, they said on the Harinam, they got the news. They said, "Oh, Ayendra Prabhu left. He left his body, left this world." I could have met him, and we could have had some conversation, and it would have been nice. It would have been enlivening. It would have been great, but I missed it. So the reason I'm telling you this is not so you can feel sad for me, but the reason I'm telling you this is so that you yourselves can take the opportunity when it presents itself. Just really, go for the opportunity. So yeah, I did meet him right enough. Yeah. All right. Any other? Yes.
The third question, where are you going when the wheel breaks?
Yes. Okay. Where are you going when the wheel breaks? So samsara chakra breaks, and you could go to the spiritual world. So the spiritual world is you have a spiritual body which is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss, in a blissful relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's a very detailed and complex place in terms of descriptions of it. But it's like eternal festival of joy and Krishna consciousness. They say every word is a song, every step is a dance. Krishna's playing his flute there, so that's the idea, yeah.
I have a funny comment about your job Octavian. They very shortly worked with him. He was like, maybe gonna work with us, and never told me anything. But he was like, I was telling him about Hare Krishna. I was explaining to him that I was, following. And he just goes, "Oh, so you're a hippie?" And that was the last. Conversation.
The comedian said that?
Yeah. But he's trying to be funny, trying to make everything funny.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, Chad.
I just heard when I was in LA that Nietzsche, I don't know if anybody's familiar with him, but he was an atheist. They said that he thought if there was a God, that God would dance.
Yes. I would believe in God if he danced, something like that, yeah. What about you? Will you take a plate?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Question?
Thank you, though.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. See you later.
Well, so you've been a devotee for almost 20 years, and you've been a monk for so much of that time. Is there any advice you can give on how you maintain such steadiness? It's inspiring.
Well, recently I heard that Keshava Swami, he said that the world is a place of crying. Which was, it's a good point. We've heard it before, but he said that the spiritual practitioners or the materialistic people, they cry out of, frustration or suffering or whatever it may be. The sadhakas, the spiritual practitioners, they cry because they're trying to, make progress, and they sometimes feel that it's, tough or this or that.
That's encouraging because I feel like I cry so.
And then the devotees who have advanced to certain levels, they're also crying for Krishna. So there's all this crying going on. So one of the things that helped me is that I just cried. I cried out for help. I would always be trying to, take guidance from others and help from others, and
It's encouraging because sometimes you feel like all you can do is cry.
yeah.
So, just to know I'm on the right path.
Yeah. Yes.
That reminds me in your book when you quoted one passage, I don't remember which one. Prabhupada was praying not to fall down, and just how witnessing the spirit of devotee praying every day, saying that he prays not to fall down, and
Yes.
how we should be even more so as we do in
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Okay. Not that I would want to prompt. No, I didn't say anything. No.
I want to prompt him to say something.
Well, this is something kind of on the tech and not having enough time to read. And he's found this wonderful videos on YouTube of Krishna book, an audio Krishna book.
Yeah.
And for example, like me, I work a lot.
Yeah.
And so like someone like me at my job, they don't mind if we have headphones.
Yeah.
Like, I could sit and listen, or if he's doing
Yeah.
work or something, he can listen.
Thank you very much. That's a good point. There's this one website, it's called Bhaktivedanta Library. And it's really amazing website. I just heard about it recently, but what this devotee did is he read all of Srila Prabhupada's books. He made recordings of them, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other books. And he has a very, good voice, like good reading voice. So recently when I was traveling, I was listening to one chapter from the Bhagavatam that I wanted to speak on. So I was, doing other things, but I was listening. So yeah, that's almost the value nowadays. That you could be driving, you could be cooking, you could be cleaning, you could be working, I guess. You could be working, you could be doing yoga, you could be doing jumping jacks. You could be doing so many things and by listening. So that's a very nice thing.
It's also soothing.
Bhaktivedanta Vedic Library. Yes, you know about that one.
Yeah, Damodar Prabhu does the reading and he's really excellent. He's a new phenomenon.
Yes. So. All right, Krishna. I was wondering where you were. I saw your husband. I didn't see you. Yes, nice to see you all too. Thank you. Looks like you have a child now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Karuna? Okay, nice. Nice.
So how do we get a journal?
Well, we have some of these, so if anybody wants one. Huh? Quanto questo? Just a donation, whatever.
How many can we take?
Yeah, how many can you take?
Well,
Can I have one?
yeah. Well, how many do you want?
Well, I want everyone to get one, so I want to see what's left over.
I guess we'll see who wants one, and then based on what's left over, then you can take the rest. I'm okay with that.
You, how do you take
So let me get one.
I'm sorry?
You take electronic payment?
Yes. Yeah, we could do Venmo. I also have about 4 more in the room, but we could do Venmo or we could do cash. You do Zelle too.
You say one for me.
Huh?
I go $5 for each.
That's fine.
One of a kind.
Looks like a very peaceful baby.
It's one of a kind. I never see it again.
How do you want to do that?
I think